Hello again. We in Britain have always been very proud to boast that our justice is carried out openly in this country and that everybody is able to witness what is going on. That's why there are public galleries in every court, of course, ranging all the way from the local magistrates' court right up to the Old Bailey. Reporters are also present and they tell us what has happened in the courts, and we can read about the cases in our newspapers or see them reported on television. The only trials conducted in secret are those which crop up from time to time which involve the Official Secrets Act. Other than that, we can all of us turn up at any court and see what is going on. Of course, this is quite irritating and time consuming for those running the judicial system because it means maintaining large court buildings and employing security guards, ushers, and so on. Say nothing of all the fuss of getting witnesses gathered together and the police coming and giving evidence. How much easier it might be if instead of all this, decisions could just be reached administratively without the presence of anybody other than a magistrate who would not need to explain his decisions either to the defendant or to the public. Best of all would be if journalists could be barred as well, so that the public would never learn about what decisions were reached and why. Lo and behold, in 2015, the so-called single justice procedure was introduced to Britain. The aim was to try and stop people from realising that they were being prosecuted at all. That way, they wouldn't even bother to come to court and everything would flow a good deal more smoothly. The traditional method of prosecuting people is, of course, to arrest them and then charge them with a crime. They are then bound to appear in court at a certain time to plead either guilty or not guilty. Then there's a trial. All very time consuming and expensive. Under the single justice system, people charged with a whole raft of offences, from fiddling their fares on the tube to not having a television licence or driving without insurance or not sending their kids to school, receive not a summons, but instead a single justice procedural notice. One of these may be seen in the thumbnail to this video. You will observe that it looks like the kind of notice which you get when you overstay your time in the council's car park. There's even a bit which says you can get a 33% discount on the fine just by accepting it promptly. Research has shown that a large proportion of those receiving these notices were not even aware that they were actually going to get a criminal record if they did not insist on contesting the case and turning up to court in person. Because you see, do have the right to insist upon a proper court appearance if you really want. Most people just treat the thing like a parking fine, and they only learn the error of their ways when they next apply for a job and they need a DBS check. Whoops, they didn't realise that they'd picked up a criminal record. They just thought it was a trifling civil matter, like, as I say, overstaying the time at the car park. These secret courts are determined not to share what they do, even with journalists. The London Evening Standard spent a long time trying to prize details of cases out of Barking Side Court in East London, but all their requests for information were simply ignored. In the description to this video, I give a link to a news item about this, and also a link from the government website which explains the single justice procedure. There are plans afoot to expand this business because it has been so successful. People don't really know that they're being prosecuted for a criminal offence and don't bother even to enter a plea, let alone go to court. It certainly saves the police and courts a lot of trouble. You know, all those troublesome little things like witnesses giving evidence and all the rest of it, and the police turning up at court and people seeing what's going on. It's so time consuming. And then people were always arguing about what had actually happened. By disguising summonses and making them look like simple notices, half the time people won't bother coming to court because they don't know that it is a summons. Bingo! Case is held in secret and nobody knows what was said in court. It is not hard to see how this process will be extended in the future to more serious crimes because it really does make life easier for everybody. The courts, the police, the whole judicial system benefits. One more little bit of British tradition about justice being done openly and publicly has slipped away.